Hello, friends. On this glorious day in drink history, we kick off a new era. For this is no longer the Anchor Distilling Company Educational Drinking Show. No, ladies and gentlemen, our fine organization now has a new name. And as such, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to what is now the Hodling & Co. Educational Drinking Show. And boy, are we starting things off right, because my guest today traveled all the way from Curacao to have a little chat. And Curacao is critical to our conversation because we are talking about Curacao. Huh? Well, Curacao is both a place, specifically an island in the Caribbean, as well as an orange liqueur, which cocktail culture has long used as a generic term to reference liqueurs in the triple sec category. But this is not entirely accurate because there is actually only one Curacao from the island of Curacao. And furthermore, it's the only orange liqueur using the famed Lahara oranges that set it apart. Let's talk. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Senior & Co. Curacao of Curacao, Sebastiaan Opschoor. This episode of the Educational Drinking Show is sponsored by Junipero Gin, which is the original American craft gin going back to 1996 and the pioneering work of Fritz Maytag, which also makes it the gin of San Francisco. At 98.6 proof, it's a bit stronger than most gins and perfect in your favorite gin cocktail. Good stuff. And now it is my great pleasure to share with you my interview with Sebastiaan Opschoor of Curacao of Curacao.
Okay, so when I go to the United States, I say to people, do you know Curacao? Because they ask me, where do you live? I say, well, Curacao, do you know it? I have no idea, they say. So then I say, do you know Blue Curacao? Yes, of course we know Blue Curacao. So it's weird when you take the words apart, they wouldn't know what it is. It's because we're an island in right next to Aruba, in front of the coast of Venezuela. It's little known, it's not that popular as Aruba. So when I say to people, oh, it's Curacao, where is it? Well, it's right next to Aruba, because a lot of people know Aruba. But it's a beautiful little island. I think in the whole Caribbean, we don't have all these big palm trees and the green because we're a dry climate. Mm-hmm. Also because our special orange is made from that dry climate. But our water is crazy clear, crazy blue. Blue skies, blue water, coral beaches. It's well, you've been there. You just told me, so it's pretty. It's
so the category of a triple sec like liqueur just kind of adopted the name Curacao.
Well, I did a lot of research on that, and if you go online and you find something like what's the difference between a Curacao liqueur and a triple sec,
okay,
you will get a bunch load of articles with all these different explanations. So what I did, I studied them all and filtered out into one story. So what we believe at the moment is true, because sometimes things change, we get new information. So what I found out is that Lucas Bols, he went to Curacao at one point with his trading company. That's where he found the La Raja orange. The La Raja orange is the mutated Valencia orange, which only grows in Curacao. So he made extract out of that orange. He brought it back to the Netherlands to make a liqueur out of it, and he called it the Curacao liqueur. So in those days, Curacao liqueur became really famous, and at one point there were a lot of different brands coming on the market. Like now you have Wenneker, the Kuiper, Bols, you have all these different Curacao liqueurs.
Were any of them being made on the island or just exporting the oranges?
There were at that time you had a couple of brands that made it, but not as big as from the Netherlands, because Netherlands is their traders number one. They're crazy traders, have been throughout the ages. So that's kind of the basis where it is. So at one point, brands like Cointreau started to making their product, their orange liqueur. They didn't start out. It is basically a Curacao liqueur because it's based on an orange liqueur. Actually, they had it on their label at one point. What I understand from Cointreau is that at that time there were a lot of cheap Curacao liqueur brands on the market, and they wanted to differentiate themselves, and they invented the term triple sec. So Cointreau I think they changed that whole market and what's so good at marketing that triple sec became the household name for an ingredient, for an orange liqueur ingredient.
Got it.
But if you would use our product, if you see a triple sec recipe online or wherever you find it, just use our clear Curacao triple sec.
Got it.
And it works the same way.
Got it.
So like Grand Marnier, it's also a Curacao liqueur, but then brandy based. But basically, it's all the same category.
And what about that orange makes it so special?
Well, so the Spaniards came in the 15th century, and they discovered Curacao. So they came, and I think they came in the rainy season because Curacao is dry like 8 months of the year, and 4 months of the year it rains. So I think they came when it was raining because they thought they could do good agriculture there, but it's a really dry climate. So they started planting these Valencia orange trees, and at one point they just mutated.
Whoa.
So the soil and the climate, it just mutated it to a green orange. So our orange is actually green, which is of course weird, and it's super bitter. Yeah. So they actually it took a couple of hundreds of years before they figured out they could make liqueur out of it. It was just all over the island, scattered around. They saw that nobody ate it, was just there, and at one point they started making these extracts and liqueur.
Wow.
And that's where it got started. So right now Senior Liqueur is the only brand in the world that still uses that La Raja. So that's why we are called the genuine Curacao liqueur. So you can say it doesn't matter if a Curacao liqueur is made in Boston or wherever or Spain. You can all call it Curacao liqueur because it's an open brand name.
And what was the heyday for when the other companies were making it with the oranges historically?
The heyday, you mean?
Yeah, like when was it really popular historically?
I think in the end of the 19th century.
Okay.
Then that's when it came up. That's when we also started.
So you'd see it in a lot of cocktail books, like a lot of historic.
The first reference I find is in the 1920s.
Okay.
Basically when cocktails became a lot more popular.
Okay.
And then in the 1920s, somewhere they figured out that they wanted different coloring because the Curacao liqueur was always used as a sweetener, but they wanted to do more with the colors for the cocktail. So they have, instead of next to the clear version, they have the blue, red, green, and orange.
Got it.
So we still make those colors, every single one of them, but somewhere in the 60s. I think when people went on vacation a lot more, so they went to the beach. It was
all
kind
those
of the
crazy
first
colors.
time. Yeah, and then they saw the blue, so the blue kind of identifies with being on vacation, and so that's why whenever you go on vacation, you will get a blue cocktail most of the time. And then in the 1960s, Elvis Presley came with his movie Blue Hawaii, and that's where
Game
the
on.
Blue Curacao, then was Game On.
Yeah.
So it went from there and still world famous. So we're happy with that because it keeps our island alive and our brand alive. I think. Yeah.
What was crazy to me when I visited your fine production facility, it's kind of small. It's very handcrafted, and your still is tiny and really old.
True.
What's going on with your still?
Well, the still, we've had that still since 1896. It's same still as ever. It's built in Philadelphia, actually. It's beautiful. Still working. The reason it's small, you can produce quite a lot with a relatively low amount of peels.
Yep.
So because you add a lot of alcohol, you add a lot of water, and you add a lot of sugar.
Yep.
So that's when you don't need a large amount of kilos to produce thousands of liters of liqueur.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a good product to have because
it's
you're
crazy. It's so unique. Hold on, I'm going to check this. We are all over the place. Good. We are at Tales of the Cocktail.
Yeah.
I will probably say that like right up front, but it's madness. The Anchor portfolio descends on this city today.
Okay,
So we got Anchor distillers running all over the place.
Everything.
And it's like herding cats that have been drinking, and they're cats, so you can imagine. So what I really like Senior Curacao.
Yeah.
I think it's so unique. What's the future look like for you guys?
Well, I think the future is first. We translated our story, which I'm telling now. We translated into video, photo, and a really good website where people.
I hope you guys
can
put
really
that video out.
Yes, it's gonna come out soon. But just making sure that as a brand, people really see what it's truly like. I think what we can do, because we're a smaller brand with smaller budget, we're a really small team, but we're from an island. And what I believe is that when you're from an island, you get immensely creative. So especially when social media and online came up, when you're on an island, you kind of have to go. So we had a lot of early adopters for Facebook, for example. We were light years ahead of other countries, just because we didn't have all these websites, because our internet was too slow. So when social media came, it gave us an opportunity to find information on a slow internet speed. So we hope to be really smart about our online communication, connecting with everybody. So that's where I hope we can grow and really connect with people. And also what the future holds is now I think 3 years ago our distillery tour was still relatively small. There might be a lot of people back then, but we really improved on the experience there. So we have a big cocktail experience there. We have guided tours with local guides who really take people into our story, and we get 150,000 people a year there. So I think, and it grows and grows. So I think 2 weeks ago I saw we have like a counter of people who come in, like how many, and we had 2,000 people on one day, and I was like, what? But it's crazy.
Wow.
But it's 2,000 people who come in contact with our brand, and it's immense for us. It's a good tool.
Stylistically, let's say you're going to try Senior Curacao next to like your Grand Marnier or a Cointreau or Triple Sec. Characteristically, what are the differences going to be?
Well, with a Grand Marnier, it's going to be completely different because that's really cognac based, and we're sugarcane alcohol based. So there's a huge difference. You can't really compare the two. Well, you can always compare, but it doesn't look like each other. I think with a Cointreau, you're quite in the neighborhood, but they use 3 different types of oranges, and we use a slightly more bitter orange. So it's close. But if you go to, let's say, a mixed liqueur, which is a cheaper version, which doesn't use a distilling process, then that's a whole different category. You will taste that right away when it's not distilled. And so we're a premium craft handmade product. It takes about 17 to 19 days, depending on the weather, how hot it is, because everything has to cool down. It's a beautiful product. So it's different, and I think it's always, when looking at cocktails, like a product like a blue Curacao, they think of it easy because they don't put that much in it. But if you're making a cocktail with all these quality ingredients, like a quality rum, a quality tequila, vodka, or whatever, don't mess it up with a cheap Curacao liqueur or a cheap Triple Sec.
You guys got a lot of cheap competitors, right?
Yeah. So, but don't mess your cocktail up with that. Use the good. If that's your finisher or your coloring agent, make sure it's a quality product.
Artificial flavors are such a shame.
Yes.
It makes me sad.
Yeah.
On the inside
well,
and on the outside.
You got volume, and I think we don't have to be in every bar. We want to be in a place where people tell the story, because our product needs a story. It's a shame I don't have the bottle here. We should have it here, right?
Oh, I can drop it in post.
Okay.
Well, that's the kind of thing I never follow up on. We're gonna pretend. It's a beautiful bottle. It's totally
unique. It's a beautiful bottle. It's actually, we're gonna really focus on communicating that a lot more, because it took me a month when I started to work at Senior to figure out that it was an orange. I was like, oh, wow, okay. And the orange peels are embossed in a bottle. There's a little La Raja tree in a bottle. Then we have the round and a little like root.
I'm gonna pretend like I already knew all of this.
Yeah. So it has a little root, and I think, and that's what connects us to Curacao. So we're the Curacao from Curacao. So the root of the tree connects us to the island. So there's all these little things in the bottle. It's a cork cap, a real cork cap, which a lot of people don't use. It has a long neck, which makes it really nice for cocktail making. So all these little different things that are pretty cool, which we never talked about. So that's why I'm happy.
It's a whole new world.
Yeah, it's a whole new world.
It's exciting times.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's exciting times here. It's a party everywhere.
Ooh, man,
Have you been
arrived,
here before?
No, I
What?
arrived on Saturday, and well, I'm Dutch, so I can handle, and I live on a Caribbean island, so I
Whoa.
can handle quite a bit. But I didn't expect this. But it's incredible city. I love the architecture, and you know, I've been making a lot of photos already, just walking around, and I think tonight the craziness starts, and yeah, I hope to meet a lot of bartenders and people from the industry, and just sucking all the knowledge in and. Telling my story, like with you.
There it
Feels
is.
like a one-way conversation. This.
That's how it's supposed to work. Well, we're so proud to be able to work with you guys and share Curacao from Curacao with the world. More people need to drink it. And thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me.